Alright guys, so if if you were in my live stream about a couple days ago, you'll know that the power supply burned up on this rig right here. This is my 6-card 1050 rig. These are all overclock, dual fan, gigabyte, 1050, 2GB cards. So I'm going to pull it all down and put it in the Octominer today. So first we got to tear it down. So let's go. Alright, so this is a H110D3A motherboard. This holds 6 cards with no issues. I have a G4400 processor on it, and I have a 4GB stick of DDR4. There's nothing wrong with this motherboard. I'm just going to put it back in the box until I get some more graphics cards, hopefully awaiting the new 20 series NVIDIA, and I'm going to get this back up and running. But for right now, I just really wanted to get my Octominer up and running, so yeah. Let's take these graphics cards down. Alright, so I just laid out, these are 6 GTX 1050 2GB. They're Gigabyte brand, and they are the overclock dual fan models. And this is the Octominer B8 Plus. It's got full 8 gosh, I can't even talk. It's got full PCI slots. It's got 8 of them, so I could put another 2 cards on the system. I just want to get these 6 back up and running. It's got an Intel Celeron laptop CPU built into it, and it runs off of 6-pin power plugs, so it needs 2 just barely to run, and then the more you can give it, the better kind of thing. It's got a VGA out, 2 USB plugs, and an Ethernet cable. So I'll go a little bit more in depth into exactly everything here in a second once I put it all into the frame. Alright, now the power supply I'm going to be using only has 2 PCI 6-pin adapters, but I want to run more power through that board for those 6 cards because 2 pins is not going to be enough. So I also bought an adapter that takes the CPU, the 2 4-pin CPUs, which is 8 pins total. It plugs into here, and then it comes out and you get 2 PCI 6 plus 2 pins. So that'll get me up to 4 6 pins on the Octominer board, and then it only has 5, and just to give that last one some power, I have right here, let's see here, pull it out of there, it's a dual 2 Molex in, 1 PCI 6-pin out, and that should be acceptable because the way I was reading it, Molex are good for like 30 watts a piece. So 2 of them, that's 60 watts. That's basically what we'd be pulling through a 6-pin on this Octominer setup with 5 of them. Yeah, so I guess it's better than not having enough. But don't correct, or correct me if I am wrong down below. And yeah, so this power supply, by the way, is just temporary. I don't want to leave this long term. I have a server power supply coming in, I don't know, midweek next week, Wednesday. It just got pushed back another day, but I have to get these cards back up and running as soon as possible. So yeah, let's throw this board in. Also, one little side note, if you are using an ATX power supply that has a 24-pin motherboard main plug, you will need one of these. This is just a jumper, and you plug this into the 24-pin plug, and that makes it so where when you plug that power supply into the wall, it's on, and it powers on directly. The Octominer from the factory is set to power on as soon as it sees power. So basically, if you got this and then you got it plugged in and the Octominer is plugged in, it's going to turn on immediately right away. So yeah, and that just goes, you take the 24-pin and you plug it right in, like if I can get it right, that. So boom, the jumper's on there. I buy EVGA power supplies, and all of my EVGA boxes, they come with these. So I have like, I don't know, 5 of them extra right now. I never did use them for anything before, but I understand now with the more mining specific hardware, I guess, you know, not everything runs off of a 24-pin adapter. So, alright, let's cut back to me throwing it in. Alright, so now I have all 6 of the GTX 1050s in, and just to show you how much room they get to breathe, it's like almost a finger width in between each of the cards, and these are full 2-slot cards right here. So maybe just enough, but just in case. I've been a huge fan of these Honeywell turbo fans. And I have one just like blowing on there. Behind that 1050 rig, I actually have one blowing air through that one. And I think I'm probably just going to end up putting this fan, like, you know, right here, just blowing into there. I do have this system, it's sucking heat off the top. And this is also, well, sucking heat from over there. And that's going out, and it's pumping it outside. So that's the current setup and how it looks. I have room for 2 more cards. I'm not sure if I'm going to go buy some 1050s or not, just with the new cards like seemingly right around the corner, but at least I'll be able to get these back up and going. I have all 5 of the PCI 6-pin plugs plugged in the back. The motherboard, or the power supply, is at 500 watts, so I'm a little bit at its limit. I'm going to go into the settings and undervolt these cards a little bit more. Currently my power draw from the wall is 421 watts, so we'll see how that changes once I get all these cards up and running. That 400 watts is being pulled by, I believe, just these cards over here. So remember 420, and then we'll subtract the difference. So yep. Alright, the next step that I probably am going to forget about, so I'll go ahead and do it right now, is we're going to plug in the Ethernet and also my USB stick with SMOS installed. I did a quick little video on like a noob's guide to getting Simple Miner up and going. I'll put that down below in the description. And I guess I'm going to set the camera behind me, but I'm going to go ahead and plug this power supply in and throw power to it. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do it right now. Alright, so there. Now the power supply is plugged in. Ready? Okay, so that little fan turned on right there. I hear some beeps. All these fans are on. Current power draw is 480 watts, so it's pulling about an extra 60 watts right now. Yeah, so I'm gonna go downstairs and bring y'all with me and show you the Simple Miner setup, because I assume everything is working correctly, hopefully. So yeah, let's go. Alright guys, I'm a total dummy, and I read the directions over like twice, but that was going to be bad. I did not remove the blue film from the heatsink, and I even read it twice. So I'm going to remove that here in a second, and also I forgot to put my RAM in. Got my DDR4 right here, so I'm going to pop that RAM in, remove that, and then power it all back up. Yeah, that would have been bad if that would have been melting on there. So, yep. Alright, so there we go. Got the plastic film off of that. That would have been bad if I left it on there. I also got the RAM installed. Laptop RAM, super simple. Like, it just kind of like slides in at an angle this way, and then you push it down and it clicks in. No need to really show you all that. If you need to install laptop RAM, just look up how to install laptop RAM. It's super simple. But yeah, so let's power it back up. Might not get those beeps this time. Alright, yeah, let's go downstairs and it should be running off Simple Miner here in a second. Alright guys, so immediately straight out of the box, just plugging graphics cards, RAM and stuff in. It doesn't look like it wants to boot to the USB, so I went and grabbed one of my old little VGA monitors, plugged in VGA, also plugged in a keyboard. We're going to go through the BIOS here, but I'd rather just show you all my fails, so to speak, because I want to be 100% transparent. Other people are going to run into these issues, and I don't want to gloss over it and act like none of this stuff ever happens. People do run into problems, they do run into issues. So let's go ahead and power it back on. And it said to get into the BIOS, you just press delete while it's powering on. So I'll hit it a couple times. There we go, right into the BIOS. This is looking like some early 2000 stuff right here. Alrighty. Advanced. Power. Chipset. Security. Boot. That's what we want. Boot option number 1, SanDisk. Okay, well, it was on the SanDisk. New boot option policy, hard drive. Save and exit. Yes. Let's see what happens. Alright, it's loading into it. So I guess it just wanted me to go into BIOS and set it to boot from USB. Nothing wrong or nothing hard with that. I didn't change any other settings. Everything else is stock BIOS, and we'll see if all 6 cards get registered and show up. It is running on Simple Miner right now. So we're looking right here, and it's showing up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 GPUs. Boom, 6 GPUs right out of the box. Only thing I had to do is go into the BIOS and set it to boot to the USB. So let's go downstairs and actually log into Simple Mining and see what it looks like on that end. But look, we're already hashing out right here. I'm getting 165, 168, 163, 61, 62, 58. So I'm getting 970 sols right out of the box, and it's looking like I have no overclocks right now. So almost 1,000 sols on 6 1052 gigs. Not bad, not bad. Let's see how much power we're pulling right now with no underclocking. So let me turn this monitor off, and I actually need to unplug the monitor from that power supply. Hold on. Alright, so I just ran down to my computer downstairs, and I'm looking at the console viewer on Simple Miner, and I threw 100 core on the overclock, and I pulled the power down to 50 watts per card, and it looks like I'm holding right around 1,000 sols across 6 cards, and just doing some rough calculations right there. We're getting about 166 sols. So I could push them a little bit harder. I have had these consistently at 170 sols, but for right now I'm happy with it. I'm just gonna leave it alone and let these things mine until I still do have to mess with this system when I go in and add the other cards, and then I'll do my final tweaking. But for right now, I'm just gonna let this run. I still do want to put the server power supply on it and get that ATX power supply off of it, because it's not going to have enough power to supply any more cards, and that's pretty much where I'm stuck at so far. Let's go back upstairs and see how much power from the wall the system's actually pulling. Alright guys, so can you see that? Right there? It's right at 900 watts, so it's basically pulling like 400 and what, 460, 470 watts. I'm probably going to go downstairs and undervolt these just a tiny bit more to get the power usage down, because this 500 watt power supply, I don't think it'll like to put up with that very long. So yeah, it looks like it's pretty efficient little design. I got this fan just right here pointed straight in front of it, so I'm definitely going to watch that because I don't want these things to overheat being so close together. So far the temperatures are stable, but I don't know how long it's going to stay like that. Maybe that right there. Yeah. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. This is Brandon on Brandoncoin, and I will see you on the next one. Adios.